It is a welcome home to remember for the Wake Forest baseball team, just not in the way that they had hoped. Just minutes ago, the Deacs landed back at Smith Reynolds Airport in Winston-Salem after a historic trip to Omaha. You see the guys getting off the plane there. They actually arrived under the spraying of water cannons, ending their quest in the College World Series. Boy, what a heartbreaking day today for Wake Forest. Both the team and their fans, welcome to the 4 to 5. I am Chad Silver here with Tim Buckley, Jalen Gilkey, and Tanya Rivera.
Woo-woo.
We're happy to be here on a Friday. I know you all are too.
Sure, of course. End of the week.
And it's Friday. Yeah, it's all good.
Finally got the sun back, Tim.
I know, it was a struggle. We're figuring out. It's getting a little better. We're trying to get things. We need good weather for these guys coming home.
Absolutely. They deserve it.
All right, well, they are preparing for a big welcome home celebration for the Wake Forest baseball team on campus. Now, as you know, they lost in an absolute nail-biter to LSU last night. Jalen, even though they didn't win, this game was incredible.
Yeah, it was one of the best baseball games possibly of all time in college history. Wake Forest, they finished their 2023 campaign with a record of 54-12, setting a new program records for regular season wins, ACC conference wins, as well as overall wins in a single season. So a whole lot of winning there. Only time they lost back-to-back games all season was the one that cost them the most. That happened to be the last two games that Wake played against LSU. Now, let's hear from the guys after last night's heartbreaker in Omaha.
Our consistency, our toughness all season, and you heard me say this time and time again this week, but the way these guys love each other, as a coach, I'd rather coach this team and not win the national championship than coach any other team. And I'm just beyond proud of them.
I'm grateful just to be able to put this jersey on. So whatever I can do, whenever I can pitch, I'm going to pitch. This might be the last time. It's going to be hard for me to take this off tonight, but there's no way I wouldn't pitch in this game.
It was a tough one there. We kind of just embraced each other and reiterated how much we love one another. And, this is the last time a lot of us will get to put on this jersey. And, I'm glad I got to do it with the two guys to my right and all 30 guys in the dugout.
And you said it was like one of the best college baseball games. And it's so interesting because we were all watching it. No scoring.
No scoring.
Right? But so fast.
And it was exactly what we anticipated. I mean, Rhett Lauder and Paul Skeens, the two pitchers from last night, they are expected to be top 10 picks in next month's drafts, and they absolutely put on a performance that people will remember for as long as I'm around, I'll tell you that, because we're going to make sure we keep this team's history alive.
0-0 into the extra innings.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds like a boring game.
It wasn't.
But if you didn't watch, it was not boring. There was a lot going on. You had a guy
action.
thrown out at home plate. The pitchers were just kind of outdoing each other throughout the whole way. So I was kind of glued to the screen, I got to say.
It was a pleasure to watch that game.
For sure.
I mean,
Except for the ending, of course.
I feel terrible. And, I don't know if you saw it at 11 o'clock last night, but Hannah Jeffries, one of our reporters, was out at the watch party at Fiddlin' Fish. She was interviewing a Wake fan as LSU hit the home run. And it was painful to see that.
For sure.
But boy, what a season.
And just a sick twist to this whole thing, right? The guy, Tommy White, that hit the walk-off home run, he actually played at NC State last year.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
another North Carolina connection.
Another North Carolina.
A little rival just kind of twisting
Just
the knife a little
just
bit.
at the end.
Yes. I will say, a baseball college team to kind of capture the attention of the whole area, that's not something that happens all the time. So they didn't bring home the big trophy, but I think they really captured a lot of attention, and they should be applauded. It was just so good.
All right, let's give you a little round of applause for seeing the sunshine today.
Thank you,
This is
Tim.
bribery. Oh, I see. I thought you were bribing for a better weekend. I'll tell you though, right now we're 4 for 4. All of these cameras I'm going to show you have sunshine and no rain in them. That's something we haven't been able to say for several days. Now, about 20 minutes ago, it was pouring in Burlington. Not the case right now. Winston-Salem has good sunshine, as does Greensboro and High Point. But you know it, I know it's been a struggle throughout the week to get to this point. And even still, we have an active radar. There are plenty of showers and storms around the area. We're going to start you off in Alamance County. This is where there have been not only rain showers, but also lightning strikes and thunderstorms. So currently you're just starting to see this push across the border into Orange County. But Mebane, you've been dealing with this for a little bit. It is still doing its thing right there. The outlet shops, you're spending all the money, you got to stay inside because it's thunder and lightning out there. Those showers are pushing off to the east. Farther south we go, way south. This is Asheboro, a couple showers for you. We see thunderstorms in Troy currently. Now we're way out to the west, Wilkesboro. it's raining there over the Speedway. We see that with some downpours. So where do we go tonight? On again, off again showers are going to continue to be possible and likely. But if you get one, it probably does not last longer than 30 minutes to an hour. Then it'll stop. For tomorrow, here's how I see your Saturday playing out. There's some fog in the morning, but as we go throughout the day, just a couple of scattered storms. Again, 1 hour of rain is possible for tomorrow, but most of your day is going to be dry, and it'll also be a lot warmer. We're in the 80s for a change, 86 by Sunday. That's the pick of the weekend. It'll be hot and sticky, and I do want to let you know, Monday could have some severe thunderstorms that really might be concerning for us. We're going to watch that very closely going into Monday's forecast for next week.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup on this Friday. We're learning more about a former nurse that investigators say administered deadly doses of insulin. Jonathan Hayes is accused of killing 2 women and attempting to kill another between 2021 and 2022 at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. Court documents confirm that one of the women who died had 100 units of insulin in her system. Hospital records listed Hayes as the top insulin dispenser at the facility, prescribing more than 7 times the average of other providers. He claims he doesn't remember giving the excessive amounts of medicine and didn't try to kill anyone. Community members are remembering the life of a Greensboro entrepreneur, Natasha Walker. The 32-year-old was known for speaking out against domestic violence. Vashon Sigler shot and killed Walker on January 1st, just hours into the new year. Walker was a mother of 2. This weekend, loved ones will honor her life with a ride event around the city.
This was a new experience for us, and I've been educating myself on gun violence and the month of June and what the orange stands for, and we wanted to really do this, so we decided to have a weekend full of nonprofit activities and to honor Natasha.
Sigler is still behind bars with a pending court date. The ride event is tomorrow on West Meadowview Road. All vehicles are welcome. Registration starts at noon.
The recall involving frozen fruit is expanding. Several stores, including Walmart, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Target, and Aldi, are all pulling the products because of possible listeria contamination. Most of the items are considered store brand, so keep that in mind. You should look on the recall section of that store's website for specific codes and dates. So far, there haven't been any illnesses linked to these products. Overstock.com is putting up $21 billion to take over Bed Bath & Beyond. You'll remember the company went bankrupt earlier this year. The sale allows Overstock to continue selling the chain's items online and acquire its brand. A hearing to finalize the sale is expected soon.
Could Social Security soon go bankrupt? It is a question that many of you have asked, and we're not going to prolong the answer. And simply, no, it's not going anywhere. However, it could see some changes. Our National Verify teams explain.
Millions of retired Americans rely on Social Security checks to pay their bills. But several Verify viewers asked us if the program could soon run out of money. So let's verify. Will Social Security go bankrupt? Our sources are the Social Security Administration, AARP, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, the Congressional Research Service, and Joseph Cordes, a professor of economics and public policy at the George Washington University. Here's how Social Security's budget works. Revenue is collected from payroll taxes. Funds are distributed in the form of monthly checks to all the eligible recipients. If more money is coming in than going out, the excess gets put into a special trust fund. For decades, that was the case, as there were more workers paying taxes than recipients collecting checks. But in recent years, there have been more and more retirees, and those retirees are living longer, meaning Social Security is paying out more than it's taking in from payroll taxes. So how does SSA make up the difference? That trust fund. But of course, you can only do that for so long before the trust fund is depleted. Experts estimate that at the current rate, the trust fund could be out of money in about 10 years. So what happens then? Is the whole system bankrupt? No, because you still have payroll taxes coming in from everyone currently in the workforce. Experts say those taxes could cover 77% of the benefits any given year. So we can verify, no, Social Security won't go bankrupt, but the checks could get smaller. That reduction in benefits would make a huge difference for millions of Americans, and that's why advocacy groups are pushing Congress to find another funding source to close the gap. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
If you see something floating around online just doesn't seem right, email it to the Verify team at WFMY.com and we'll look into it.
We have reported on so many violent crimes recently. Police will often say this problem will take an entire community to fix.
That's right. So WFMY News 2 is out to make a difference. Our Ben Briscoe is highlighting local organizations which people can give back to their community. The first one is geared towards channeling youth creativity.
Dialing in on one cause of violence in the triad might start with turning on the radio. A study of Billboard song lyrics found 14% of rap songs talked about physical violence. And on average, 1 in every 234 lyrics is a swear word. Here's how 16-year-old Jeremiah Jett puts it.
Now, when a tree grows to its fullest potential and it tries to bear fruits, it may not be in the right situation. You may be able to relate to this. You may not be in that right situation, and for a tree to bear fruit, it has to have the right soil, the right amount of water, and the right amount of sunlight.
That's why he's joining a group of teens called the New Cool Movement, led by DJ Busta Brown's The Next Level nonprofit.
To our youth, we're going to be that water. We're going to be that good soil, and we're going to be that sunlight and help them step out of the dark and get the light that they deserve. Because everybody deserves a beautiful life and not have to worry about the violence that's going on.
And today, we're going to talk about LeBron James and Bronny, his oldest son.
The group helps kids produce their own podcast, YouTube page, music, and even their own radio station.
You don't have to do music with violence, and we don't have to listen to music that's cursing and sex and things like that. Look at these groups, and we got something nice. We keep pushing every day. If we can get to just one, I push that all the time. That one will tell one, that two will tell two, and it'll keep going and keep going. But we have to stay consistent.
Now, if you're interested in getting involved, the group is hosting a forum tomorrow at First United Methodist Church in High Point. They'll be talking about how parents and students can navigate technology and social media. And if there's a volunteer opportunity you think that we should know about to highlight for this series, reach out to Ben Briscoe on social media.
This is such a cool idea. They CBS Sunday Morning did something like this about they had a bus and they were like, how do we get kids to do something different than maybe what's going on in the streets? And so they armed the bus with all kinds of instruments so they could record their own music.
Wow.
And I was like, it's very similar to that where they're giving them the way to be creative.
It's just an opportunity that definitely didn't exist
Oh no.
very long ago, right? You know, even 5, 10, 15 years ago, making your own podcast, doing your own videos. You know, this is something kind of newer that you don't need that much equipment nowadays. You can just put it on YouTube and it seems like a positive influence.
And I like what he was saying, that, you know, the music doesn't have to be about the drugs, the sex, and the violence and shootings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, with anything, the kids will look to the adults for their influence. And so I think that if you can be a positive influence, can't be anything bad with that.
Remember back in the day, you used to have a tape recorder and you used to press play and record, and you used to play and record your own like voice and stuff like that.
Oh, or the radio, like
Yeah,
the
that's
like a
old.
mixtape?
That's
Yeah.
old school, friends. But I'm glad the technology has kept up with things.
Yeah, it's new school time now, for sure.
You
This
mean
is,
you didn't have like the karaoke machine where you could sing into it and record it?
I did not, but that would have
Neither
been
did I.
fantastic.
I had a friend who had one. It was cool.
Good job, kid.
We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Tim Buckley outside now, reporting live in the sunshine. For the first time all week, it seems. We do have sun. We did not have it this morning. Take a look at some of the clouds we saw out there. A lot of cloud cover earlier on today. In fact, that fog was pretty thick for a long while before things started to clear up a little bit going into your afternoon. That fogginess, not something that you want to see to start the day. And the sunshine did come back eventually by the afternoon. I do not know why my clicker is not working, but now it seems like it wants to. And isn't that cool? Temperatures are in the upper 70s here currently. We have a lot of humidity across the area. In fact, I'm going to step inside so I can click through this. It's really muggy outside too. We have a lot of humidity to go along with our warm air. Look at your dew point temperatures. We are seeing them in the 60s right now. Temperatures really not something that we usually notice to be this cool this time of year, but they've finally gotten a little bit warmer for today. day. Dew point temperatures, as I was mentioning, that means it's really muggy outside. We're in the mid 60s currently for the dew points, even close to 70 in some areas. Now the radar we've showed you, there are scattered storms in parts of the area. Burlington, you're done with this now, but there could be a couple more that pop up later. Asheboro has a couple, and over toward Wilkes County, we are still seeing a couple of showers as well. Looking on the futurecast now, as we go into the weekend, things are looking up overall. There will be a scattered storm tomorrow afternoon, but by and large, you're mostly dry. Worst case scenario, it rains on you for, let's say, just about an hour or two, and that would be about it. As far as Sunday goes, that's when you're definitely in the clear for rain and storms for your afternoons. For Saturday, hour by hour, a little bit of fog possible for the morning. Temperatures in the 60s to start the day. Will be in the low 80s for the afternoon with that slight chance of an afternoon shower or storm. So that's how your weekend looks as far as we can tell. Going into next week, things, well, they're getting wetter again. Our rain potential really goes up by Monday and Tuesday, especially Monday. That's when we're looking at a good chance of showers and storms. Some of those could even be severe. So I'm looking at a severe weather possibility for Monday afternoon. Some of those storms really could pack a punch with damaging wind gusts, but also with some hail. And then by Tuesday, maybe just a lingering shower. After that, looks to be a little bit less humid and pretty comfortable for a couple of days. We'll have highs in the low 80s. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. It'll be better than this week has been right here in the Triad.
More travelers are itching to get across the pond this summer. Visitors numbers at European countries, they're booming, so much so, some destinations are struggling to keep up.
The famed Acropolis seems to stand alone above Athens, but a visit here means plenty of company.
The wait definitely and the amount of people that are here was definitely a little bit overwhelming.
More than 14,000 visitors came to the Acropolis in May, 70% more than May of last year. Tourists have been flocking to some of Europe's most famous landmarks at numbers matching or exceeding pre-pandemic levels.
I did not expect this many people in June. I thought July would be peak and busier.
The soaring numbers prompted the Ministry of Culture to introduce a pilot program where timed entries can be booked online. Dubrovnik, Croatia's popular Game of Thrones town, has started capping the number of visitors and added a tourist tax. France's famed Calanque National Park is keeping a pandemic-era reservation system, allowing just 400 visitors a day compared to the previous 2,500. Small towns are also experiencing the onslaught, like Etretat, a French town of just 1,200 people that sees as many as 10,000 tourists a day in the high season. You won't be able to park potentially, you won't be able to eat in the restaurant, and on top of that, the impact on the environment is greater, she says. For many countries, it's a delicate balance between protecting treasured sites and cashing in on the tourist dollars. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
We're just pointing at all this video and say, where's that? I want to go
Where's
there.
that? Yeah, let's
Where
go
can
there.
I go
Let's
next?
go there. Let's go there. Let's go there.
Just make sure you have
and
that.
And apparently that's what
this.
everybody else was doing too, right? Because they all booked trips to Europe.
Yes.
If you had to pick like a place in Europe that you've never been, where would it be?
Portugal, Greece.
Okay.
I would say Portugal, probably also.
I think
Wanna
I want
go?
to
Yes.
go to Oktoberfest in Germany.
Yes.
I want to do that too.
Okay, did you know though that it ends the first week of October?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
because
so we're
I
gonna go
tried
in
to make
September.
plans there because there's another trip in October and I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, Oktoberfest is actually in September. Welcome.
Isn't that funny? Yes.
It's like the best games of March Madness are in April.
Okay.
Okay, well now my mind is just exploding. But lots of travel it seems, and you need that passport. I had a friend that just was going on a trip. He got his passport one day before he left.
I had one of those too for my friend
One
who was
day.
my roommate for my birthday. Got it the day before.
Oh my gosh, that would make me so stressed out.
Honestly, I think if you're an adult and you have any inclination to ever travel in your life,
Oh, you should have a passport,
have it.
for
and
sure.
they last for 10 years.
It's like
It's a good investment.
It's like when the firefighters tell you to have an escape route for your house and you don't plan when there's a tornado.
Right.
You need to just plan ahead of time. Just do it now.
That
Yeah.
passport as your escape route in case you need to get out of town.
This music now, I just want to go to Italy. I might not come back.
Ooh, pasta.
Just makes me want to sway.
Good stuff.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. I'm Chet Silver here with Tim Buckley, Tanya Rivera. It is Friday, and I think we're all kind of in that Friday mood.
Oh, yeah. And the Friday mood is, hey, let's get to the weekend, and what does it look like?
The answer is better.
The answer is better, so this is good.
That's my answer. Better than it's been.
Do you think that more people have harassed you about when it will stop raining than they do when will it snow?
Snow.
No, no, snow is always number one.
Yeah.
And insufferable. Like always, just like nothing can satisfy.
And probably you're getting
I got
people
a question
now.
about snow 2 days ago.
That's what I was about to say.
They
Now
said,
saying,
"Tim,
when are we going to do it?
Will it snow this winter? I said it usually does. Last year was the first time it hasn't in like 30 years.
You know what I loved that you posted yesterday, and it kind of really just quieted everybody
Was it about
down.
rain?
Yes.
Okay.
It was about, would you rather have it rain, what was it, rain over the, like 5?
Oh, would you rather it rain all weekend and be dry during the week?
Okay.
Or would you rather it be rainy all week and then dry on the weekend?
Okay.
And I can't imagine anybody said the first option.
Most people picked what we're doing right now, which is when it rains all week and
Right.
it's nice on the weekend.
Yes. And we're
So-
good with that because it rained on the weekend for like, I don't know how many months straight it felt like.
Yep.
All year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some perspective is good, right?
Yes.
Okay, we got to talk about some weather.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, for real. Now we have some graphical aids so we can show you what we're talking about. There is sunshine in much of the area currently, but not everywhere. This is the live view across our whole region, or at least 4 of our Greensboro sky cameras in Winston-Salem and Burlington as well. Looking at scattered showers and storms, you really just went through it over in Alamance County. Some downpours were rolling on by. Now they're going over toward Hillsboro, right near Efland, also in Orange County. Seeing just a couple of downpours, one of them right now near Elon, another one up toward the 4-county area of Guilford, Caswell, Rockingham, and Alamance. Now let's go farther to the south. This is where some other action is happening. Right along 73 and 220 near Montgomery County and Troy and Candor. We have a little bit of a downpour near Asheboro, not too far from the zoo currently. No lightning in that one. Looking at a downpour near Elkin. None of these showers or storms are severe. Most of them do not have lightning, but through the rest of the evening, there's at least a low chance of a pop-up shower or storm moving where you are. Going into tomorrow, it's kind of the same as today. We'll have fogginess in the morning, 60s, 80s for the afternoon, and there is a concern for a pop-up shower or storm here or there. But most of the day is going to be dry, everybody. Keep your plans. If you cancel your plans tomorrow, that's on you. It's not on the forecast. I think we're really going to be in pretty good shape for most of the day. I can't guarantee you stay dry, but at worst case, it would be raining for about 1 hour. And otherwise, you're pretty dry for the rest of the weekend. Heading into next week, circle Monday in your brain. Nasty thunderstorms are possible for the second half of the day. We might have a severe weather threat to cover for you there. We'll keep you posted. Enjoy your weekend.
So while we're getting frequent rain here, the eastern part of the state is dealing with the aftermath of a tornado. The EF1 storm ripped through a small town of Kinston, about an hour and a half from Raleigh.
Yeah, winds topped 100 miles an hour, tearing through a future store and shopping center.
Kinston is a good place to live, and when things happen like this, people will come together and help.
And that's exactly what they're doing. It is a miracle. No one was hurt. Lots of people coming out. You know, we hate to see disasters like this, but boy, just the aftermath is incredible when you see people coming together.
That stuff can happen really fast. It looked like this one, it popped up. You know, it was a storm tracking for a while, but when we look at the radar, you're always looking, is there rotation? Is this thing spinning around? It wasn't for a while, and then just in a minute or two, it really tightened up, and then it weakened again. So it looked like it strengthened right over the town and got them pretty badly.
And what is it? We always talk about the difference between a tornado and straight line winds.
Well, they can both be just as strong. So you could have a straight line wind that's 100 miles per hour. Sometimes that happens. We saw back in Eden a month or so ago where they got that really bad damage. But in this case, you know, this looked like there were swirling damage reports, right? And it was bad enough to, you see the pictures.
It sounds like we have been pretty lucky here. You know, the other day, I'm sure you saw it too, where there were tornado warnings down in just like northeast of Charlotte. And
I know.
We've got the Kinston situation. I mean, we have been lucky here this week.
And you know, we're no stranger to it here. We've done it a lot. You know this at home. A lot of times we have to get on screen and stay on with you for hours on end in the springtime. We haven't done that once this year.
We're thankful for that.
I can't remember that in my career, and I don't want to jinx anything, of course. But we've been pretty lucky.
I imagine the cooler temperatures have helped play a role.
Yeah, for sure. When it's cool, you just cannot get that level of weather. And like yesterday, it was in the 60s, so we were safe.
And I know people are like, is this really June? And if it's in the 60s.
I know.
And it is.
It's crazy. Canada's been in the 90s.
Upside down world.
Sure is. Yep.
All right, we're going to get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. We're learning more about a former nurse that investigators say administered deadly doses of insulin. Jonathan Hayes is accused of killing 2 women and attempting to kill another between 2021 and 2022 at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. Court documents claim one of the women who died had 100 units of insulin in her system. Hospital records listed Hayes as the top insulin dispenser at the facility, prescribing more than 7 times the average of other providers. He claims he doesn't remember giving the excessive amount of medicine and did not try to kill anyone.
The International Civil Rights Center and Museum in Greensboro wants more visitors from other countries. It's working on getting recognition from UNESCO, which is in charge of preserving landmarks around the world. The honor would bring more exposure to the site on an international level.
We are on our way. This is a 10-year process, and along the way I've been inviting community stakeholders to come in, learn about what's coming at us, be prepared for it. That's from our sheriff department, from the police department, from the planning department, other community stakeholders, foundations, because we're ultimately going to have to set up a significant foundation for this institution to endow it.
Leaders say the recognition would also help with permanent protection and more funding opportunities. State lawmakers have made changes to the new 12-week abortion law, even though it's not even in place yet. The amendments are in response to a recent lawsuit from Planned Parenthood and a Duke doctor. They filed a motion for a temporary restraining order to stop the law from taking effect on July 1st. Lawmakers rolled out the changes hoping to prevent the delay. A district court will review it next week. If the law is upheld, most abortions will be banned after 12 weeks instead of the current 20. It has exceptions for rape, incest, and if there's a threat to the life of the baby or mother. The law also requires longer waiting periods and more in-person visits to get an abortion.
Well, tomorrow marks 1 year since the Supreme Court overturned decades of abortion rights. The Supreme Court issued the ruling overturning Roe v. Wade nearly a year ago, the decision sparking action from millions of Americans on both sides of the debate.
President Biden is rallying with abortion rights groups, marking 1 year since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
President Biden and Vice President Harris stand with the majority of Americans who believe the right to choose is fundamental.
The president is using the occasion to issue a new executive order. The order strengthens access to birth control pills through the Affordable Care Act, Medicare, and Medicaid services. It also tries to ensure access to pills for veterans and service members through other federal programs.
Access to contraception has become more important than ever following the Supreme Court's decision and ensuing crisis for women's health.
Democrats see abortion rights as a critical issue to rally voters for the 2024 presidential election, and it remains a key issue for anti-abortion rights groups as well.
We will stand every day without apology for the unalienable right to life.
Former Vice President and 2024 presidential candidate Mike Pence dismissed the idea that abortion will hurt Republicans on the ballot.
The cause of life is the calling of our time, and we must not rest and must not relent until we restore the sanctity of life to the center of American law in every state in this country.
In a new CBS News poll, 57% of Americans surveyed said the overturn of Roe v. Wade has been mostly bad for the country. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
And before we go to break, we are remembering a triad baker known for making lives a bit sweeter. Moravian cookie baker Eva Haynes died yesterday. She founded Mrs. Haynes Handmade Moravian Cookies in Clemens. You probably have seen her red tins around Christmas time stuffed with the popular ginger crisps. Mrs. Haynes and her treats are staples across the triad, but also the country and the world. The company ships cookies to all 50 states and 30 countries across the globe. What a story.
And so a lot of people would be like, I haven't had hers. They're very similar. It's a Moravian style cookie, but it has different shapes. And my favorite flavor is black walnut, which you don't find in many of the other Moravian cookies. So if you haven't had a Mrs. Haynes, I suggest you get one.
And some of this video you're watching here behind us is when we did a story on it,
Right.
Made in the Triad years ago. It was from 2010. Where just, I mean, just you can almost smell and taste the food when you're looking at that video.
You can see the love and care, handmade, right?
Yes.
This is something that we love in this area. Moravian cookies are really a Triad staple, I think.
And what I love about this is you can go and you can watch them, like being made, which normally you just go to the store, right, and you pick out what you want.
Sure.
But seeing them being rolled out, seeing them being cut and all that kind of stuff is really a cool thing.
It's extra special.
It is.
And I think we're going to be talking with some of the people who work at that factory today, just to kind of about her and her legacy and moving forward. So
And how she got started.
See that tonight at 11. We'll be right back.
So folks, you need to know this at home. Every single time Chad travels to Wisconsin, he brings the rest of us treats from his hometown.
That's true.
So let folks in on some of the tasty prizes.
So I used to work at a candy store in high school, so I would go back and I have to get some of the homemade fudge, the peanut brittle,
Yes.
And of course the staple, which is cheese.
Cheese curds. And they're so good. So cheese, it's the thing in Wisconsin. Did you know that there are official tasters of cheese there?
I mean, it makes sense, but I am not aware of them.
It's like quality control.
It is like quality control. In fact, the job description is, are you ready for it? Descriptive Sensory Panelist.
Okay.
That is the name. That is the official title for the position, which, by the way, is part-time, although you do have 3 months of paid training.
Okay.
It is a very kind of rigorous job. When the story went viral a little bit, people just kind of think, you know, you sit down, you taste some cheese, you say whether you like it or not.
All right, so for example, this week, the tasters, or the sensory panelists, had 30 pizzas to evaluate. How does it taste? Yes, but also, how does the cheese function? Like, does it actually, like, you know, pull?
Kind of what we're teaching them is to speak a common language. So think of like, how well does it go through a shredding machine? How well does it bake and, you know, brown, blister? How does the cheese stretch and melt and flow? People don't realize how much work goes into the food industry as far as like quality control and research and development.
So if I dare say, it's not easy being cheesy.
You know, the way that he talked about this reminds me of like wine snobs.
Yes, a sommelier.
Look at the legs on this
Yes,
wine. I mean, get real. But I mean, that's cool. I love that.
It was almost like, you think this is easy, you try it, right?
That's right, that's right. One key thing, though, that I learned from this story is, you know how you buy shredded cheese in the grocery store, right?
Yes.
A lot of companies use potato starch to keep the shreds of cheese separate. And they say when you see that, run very far away, that it is not real cheese and you should not buy it. So you know how sometimes you see the shredded cheese in the bag and you see it's got kind of like a white filmy kind of thing? That's potato starch. And they're like, that's not good enough cheese to eat, don't buy that.
Sometimes, you know, when you're making a pizza or anything with shredded cheese,
Yes.
you might get a munchie and you might want to snack on it. Sometimes it doesn't taste that good, I have
Right,
to say.
right.
Or
That's
grimy.
correct.
That might be the potato-y problem.
That's the potato starch. And so maybe you should shred your own cheese. Of course, that takes a lot of time, right?
I've started to do that, and I have to say, I think it tastes better, and I think it's actually a little cheaper.
Oh,
if you do it on your own.
Do you know?
It keeps longer too if it's not pre-shredded.
Sure.
Sometimes when I'm at the grocery store, I see these huge wheels of cheese. They're like $195. I'm like, what would I do with all this cheese? But there you have it.
Some cheese doesn't go bad. If it's a hard cheese,
That's true.
it'll stay in
For a
for
long
years,
time.
like a Parmigiano or something like that. You're good to go.
Right. Now, maybe it's not cheese that you'd like to be a taster of. What food item would you like to be a sensory panelist for?
Oh, wow.
Pizza.
I think
Pizza's
this
always
job
good.
looked fine
Pizza
to
or
me.
candy.
The problem, I'm worried though that some of it's going to taste bad.
It will
Right?
taste bad. In fact, one of the ladies had an allergic reaction to one of the enzymes in one of the cheeses that they were tasting. Yes, because again, it doesn't always like come the right way.
We're like human
come
rats
together
here.
the right
So
way.
here's the question though, would you be willing to eat 19 really good or average pizzas knowing that there was going to be the 20th that just, it's kind of like Bamboozled, you know the game with the
Yes,
jelly
with the
bellies?
jelly bellies.
Are you willing to
Like when
eat
you get the
really
Harry
good
Potter
ones
beans,
to maybe get a bad one?
So I asked on Facebook what you would want to be a taste tester for, or that panelist. And so here are a few of the comments. I've got everything, sign me up. Then we've got chocolate, French fries, ooh, I'm a fan, yeah, ice cream, and at the very bottom this person said Italian foods, Swedish foods, French foods, German foods.
Christine, that's funny.
All the
covers about 'em all.
foods,
Wow,
yes.
yeah. I think chocolate's actually a probably good answer because I think a lot of people, that might actually be helpful. I think they might need a chocolate tester. There's so many different kinds, you know, fancy chocolate people.
yeah.
Okay, like the
Really
crazy
dark
folks that like
chocolate.
92% or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
They
And
want
I
to test
can't
it.
tell the difference. So maybe I would be a good person because I'd be like, this is the same as that. That's the same as that.
Chad Silver says he doesn't like chocolate, but his favorite cake is a red velvet.
Goodbye.
Okay.
We're going to break.
Talk among
The Price is Right is getting a new look and a new home. The show that you see every morning here at 11 a.m. on WFMY is moving to a new studio. After more than 50 years at the historic Bob Barker Studio 33, the Big Wheel is embarking on a new chapter.
Come on down to The Price is Right here at Television City for the very last time.
We're about to film the very last episode of The Price is Right at the Bob Barker Studio at Television City in California. We've been here for 51 years in this historic stage. I used to tell people there was magic in the wood here because of all the good vibes that have been in this studio, you know, all the laughs and all the fun that have been here. Now we got to go and start a new place and put our own good vibes into that new place.
$87,000! You got
It means the world to me. I mean, this is my second family. We love it here. We sincerely love it. And what's not to love?
To witness the best day of people's lives. In this final episode, we're going to do all sorts of things that tip our hat to this amazing stage.
That'll put a dent in some bills, 33 grand.
I am blessed by being able to walk the same stage that people like Bob Barker and Carol Burnett used to walk on. Honestly, it's a real blessing in my life. Like, I always am grateful and thankful that I have this opportunity to have a job like this.
Next season, we're going to be at an all-new studio in Glendale, California, everybody.
People need a break in their day and they need something familiar. So this is our service to everybody by having an enjoyable hour they can watch with their whole family. It's a responsibility, but I think of it more as a blessing than anything else. And it's just the best feeling in the world.
Let's get this show started with the first prize up for bids today on The Price is Right.
Everybody, all 350 million of you should tune in because it's the last show on the stage. That's why it's going to be historic.
I don't care where they have the show as long as they continue it. The Price is Right is one of my favorite shows of all time. Growing up, it was very important in our in the summer months.
Summer,
we
right.
would watch The Wheel of Fortune because you couldn't watch it during the school year.
Nope.
Look at all the things you were missing. I saw an interview with him, and they asked him, what are you going to miss? And he goes, let me tell you what I'm not going to miss. The bad Wi-Fi in this building. And I was like, can't we? I mean, that's like a common thing, right? For every workplace.
And you can't fix it.
Man. I would watch it on snow days and summer days for sure. And as a kid, I loved it. And that was always a dream, like I want to go on the show. I think I've abandoned that dream a little bit, but I would still be happy to go on there.
So my husband thinks he should go on it because when we go grocery shopping, he looks at all the stuff we're going to buy in the cart and he tallies it up. And he's within $5 every time. I am way off, but he is like within $5.
That's
yeah,
great.
Price is Right.
How long do you think Drew Carey has been there? Because it's a lot longer than I thought.
20 years?
10.
16.
Okay. We met in the middle.
Yeah, I like that.
I drove by the current studio when I was at the Rose Bowl in January, and I got kind of like goosebumps. I was like, that's kind of where they do it. That's cool. I want to go there.
And so we were talking about the new one is about just 10 miles away, but you said in LA terms, that's like 2 hours to drive that.
Half a day to
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Never
That's a different
unclogged.
commute. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I miss Bob Barker too.
Yeah, for sure.
Spay and neuter your pets.
That's
right. And keep an umbrella handy.
Let's talk about your weekend. Here's your forecast, getting you ready to go on this Friday for your Saturday and Sunday. I think we're in really good shape, honestly, for tomorrow. Most of the day will be a dry one for us. Here's the deal. It might rain for 1 hour. There are 24 hours in a day, everybody. We're in pretty good shape for your Saturday plans. It will be warmer and it is sticky. We are back to having that air you can wear. Haven't said that in a while because we haven't had it. Mid 80s for Sunday. We're looking at upper 80s on Monday. That could be problems for us. We have some scattered storms there that could be severe with wind damage and hail. That'll be Monday's concern. We'll talk about it going into next week. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. 5 o'clock's coming up.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, mic check, mic.
Yes, 10987654 10987654
Hi, Brett. 1, 2, 3. Is my mic not on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is. Hello.
Mic check. My 2 cents. Mic check. My 2 cents.
Hello. It's always a good Friday when you have Fresca. Let's enjoy a Fresca. Hey, all right.
Now it's time for my 2 cents. As we near the end of Pride Month, I want to talk about the why behind the celebration. Pride Month started after the Stonewall riots back in June of 1969. Back then, police raided the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York, and began taking customers outside. Tensions quickly escalated as people resisted arrest. Bystanders even began throwing things at the officers who were pulling people out of the bar. New York's gay community was fed up after years of harassment by authorities. The riots went on for 3 days. A series of gay liberation protests started happening across the country, fighting for equal rights among the LGBTQ+ community. Now, we've made some headway since 1969, but the fight isn't over. For decades, LGBTQ+ members have struggled to overcome prejudice and to be accepted for who they are. In the first few days of Pride Month this year, the Human Rights Campaign declared a state of emergency for LGBTQ+ people in the United States. An HRC report provided a snapshot of 2023's stark increase in state houses introducing anti-LGBTQ+ bills, currently sitting at more than 525 across the entire country. While Pride Month is a chance to throw festivals and parades and provide events for people to be their true selves, it's important to remember that it's still a fight for equal rights. As we wrap up Pride Month, there are still many events that you can attend to learn more. Winston-Salem Pride is happening this coming weekend downtown, where I'm actually going to be the MC on the main stage. Whether you're a part of the LGBTQ+ community or not, remember to just love one another, no matter how different they may be from you. Everyone is put on this earth for a reason. That's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
We begin with new details about a Winston-Salem nurse accused of murdering 2 patients and nearly killing a third with lethal doses of insulin.
That's right. We now have court documents where Jonathan Hayes, a former Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist nurse, both admitted and denied giving the deadly doses of medication.
Break down other alarming details in the warrants.
Jonathan Hayes was a nurse here at Wake Forest, Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center, when he was charged with 1 count of attempted murder and 2 counts of felony murder. Now, the 9 pages of unsealed court documents today